Hello, welcome back to yet another YouTube video here on the channel. Welcome on board the Inibuilds A330-300 today as we operate the Qantas service as Qantas 127 from Sydney to Hong Kong for this early morning slash evening departure of Sydney. We're looking at a block time of 9 hours and 14 minutes with an airtime of 8 hours and 42 minutes with an expected early morning arrival into Hong Kong on the other side. We are on stand 83 here and we're on the VATSIM network as well. We have Sydney ground online, so we'll be sure to get clearance from them. But we are here in an on the stand with everything pretty much in cold and dark state. We're the first flight for today out of Sydney, bound for Hong Kong, taking over 272 passengers out to Hong Kong. So it should be nice. So join us as we jump into the flight deck, power up the aircraft, and then we'll get into the briefing for today's agenda. But yeah, if you do like the content, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and also drop a comment in the comments below and give me some flight suggestions that you guys would like to see as well. And if not, be sure to join the community in the description, which is going to have the Discord server. Welcome on board a cold and dark state and dark and gloomy A330-300 cockpit here on the ground in Sydney. We're just going to do a few things, make sure everything's good. Pretty dark down here, but pretty much more that we can see before we power her up and take her out of Sydney. So we need to make sure stuff is in agenda. So parking brake is on, thrust levers is idle, fuel cutoffs are off, engine mode selector's normal, weather radar is all off, window wipers are off, and we can then check our batteries, which are all good, above 25 volts. Landing gear is down, and flaps are retracted, and ground spoilers are up as well, and then the down D10. So with that, we can then go ahead and start powering her up. And then as we wait for the aircraft to come alive, we will go ahead and we will have a look at our operational flight plan for today, which is going to be over to Hong Kong from Sydney. So let's take a look at that and see what our plan, our agenda, our mindset is going to be for today's flight. And welcome into the briefing. So as I say, welcome on board the Qantas 127 service from Sydney to Hong Kong. We are in the A330 today with registration of Victor Hotel Quebec Papa Juliet, and we have an estimated departure time of 14:15 Zulu with 8 hours and 42 minutes of flight time on us, with a estimated block time of just over 9 hours into here. We're going to be cruising to the flight level 360, and we have a total distance of 4,079 nautical miles as well. We're flying across index 20, and we are planning to go out of here via 16 right via the Group 1 departure, Richmond transition, and then as filed, and then on the other side we're expecting to be landing on 07 left, according to our dispatcher, coming in by the Betty 3 Alpha arrival. So we'll keep an eye on this. This could change throughout the flight. Our alternate for today is Victor Mike Charlie, and As I say, we're looking to take, the dispatcher wants us taking 60.5 tons of fuel, which is 10 hours and 11 minutes. We're going to round that up just due to one, VATSIM traffic that could be coming into Hong Kong on the other side by the time we get up there, because it being early morning, it being the weekend, there could be heavy amounts of traffic, a lot of like controllers logging on, holding, etc. So I'm thinking about 60.9 tons, just to bring us up very closer to the 61 tons. We won't go all the way up. We'll just take an extra 400 kilos, which should be fine for us for today. We have a zero fuel weight of 162 tons, well under our max zero fuel weight for today. Our takeoff weight for today is 222 tons, which we are well below our maximum takeoff as well, so easy to come back to the field if we have to. So coming down, this is all our wind telemetry data that we will be, so we'll be in between these two flight levels, so we'll keep an eye on it on the way up. But coming down in the OFP, so Sydney right now, as when the dispatcher generated this OFP for us, at 1200 Zulu, winds are 1408, test statute, no significant change, 24 degrees down there, 1016, so kind of nice. Hong Kong, looking quite nice as well, 110 at 10 statute, few 1500 scattered at 4500, 1020, and our alternate, which is Victor Mike Mike Charlie, which is Macquarie International, which is 100 at 12, so pretty much clear weather coming in and out of going out of Sydney, and then for going into Hong Kong, and then if we need to divert, our alternate is already significantly past for our weather conditions. These are segment forecasts across FIRs that we're going to be passing through, which we don't really have a huge concern in these. We've got an eruption up here as well, which is in the Whiskey Alpha Foxtrot Sigma, which is Padang, which we'll keep an eye out on. We'll probably just be passing through it. It'll be probably more northerly than us, but at least we've got an eruption here. Might be able to see it in the sim, we might not. Manila, FIR, nothing here to report, and then nothing in the other airspace. NTAMs we don't have to worry about, we can ignore all those. NOTAMs as well are nil in effect because we're on VATSIM, unless the controllers are operating it, but right now we just have ground online at this point, so I doubt he's going to be dealing with this. Plus it's a crane, so we're probably not going to see it in the sim anyway, because it's not procedurally generated as the real world is, so we probably won't see that crane anyway. Coming down, we can scroll through all these NOTAMs, since these are pretty much null in effect for us. And then this is all Hong Kong stuff, which we don't need, because we have got like 9+ hours before we even hit Hong Kong. So coming down, we should be getting to our weather maps and our route maps for you guys to look at. So here's our route for today. As I say, Sydney to Hong Kong, going through New South Wales all the way up through the north and northwest of Australia, all the way through Indonesia, and then all the way in through Asia, and then all the way into Hong Kong on the other side. Weather for today, this has got like all the way up to flight over 400, and then with some with no low level. So we've got a Sigma 1 here, which is this one here that we're more concentrated about because this is our departure. So we're going to have a little bit of turbulence here, a little bit of a jet stream here pushing us, hitting us from west to east, because pushing the tailwinds across to New Zealand if we have to, and then we have a breakthrough, and then until we hit Bali district in Indonesia district, where we then get a CB cell up here, which is all the way up to flight level 470 with no low level, so base all the way to the ground. So we'll keep an eye on this when we get up into this area, but it should be fine. Another one, here we go. This is the eruption that we just spoke about. It's in this FIR. So I guess a volcano's erupted here. So either the smoke in the cloud is going to be going this direction from west to east, or it's going to be going out in all this direction. We will keep an eye on this area, but we should be fine. Again, another CB here, all the way up to 450, but it'll be totally fine. And then we have a number one. The number one's all the way up here in this top left corner, so nil in effect for us, but something to be aware of as well. Well, actually, number one is all the way over here, so that's a good one to be referencing. So coming to Hong Kong, we've got another CB here for Main as well, all the way up to 470 with no level, passing through it on the west side. Sigma 2 can be ignored, nil factor. But then number one here coming to Hong Kong, all the way from flight level, highest altitude of flight level 400 all the way down to the ground. This could just have a bit of turbulence in it, but nothing major. But we'll worry about this on our descent into Hong Kong and for our alternate. Weather map for today is, let's say, from flight level 300 and all the way up. We've got a bit of turbulence, so the climate's going to be one significant to keep an eye on. So we've got pretty much a headwind, crosswind, and then turning into, that's pretty much it, just a head cross, that's fine for the climate. And then this is passing 3-4, head, cross, yeah, just to keep an eye on the passengers while we're climbing up through these high pressures, and then this one's 390, so we're going to be pretty much in between these two. So we've got a bit of a headwind, crosswind, tailwind, tail cross, all the way up to Hong Kong, so shouldn't be too bad. And then this is what this looks like. So in terms of the departure, we are parked all the way over here on stand 83 up here in Sydney. We're going to be going off a runway 16 right, so simple taxi for us. It'll be pushing back nose to the south and then taxiing out via this ramp, Bravo 1, hold short 16 right, and then we'll depart. And it's pretty much just self-explanatory. No nil factor because of night terminal operations. We have to depart to the south, and then arrivals are to the north. So in the event that we have to come back, we will be landing 3-4 left, because that's what one that they have in operation according to the ATIST. So as I say, we're out here by the Grok 1. This is what we're planned at the moment. Whether or not ATC will give us it when we call, but we'll wait. So simple procedure if we are on the Grok 1. So we've Grok 1 departure, climb to the runway heading 155, and then make a right hand turn to Dunes. But before we can make this right hand turn, we have to be aware of this. So caution, parallel runway operations, do not turn left. Gradual of 3.3 degrees, track 155, and as soon as practicable, turn right direct Dunes. Turn left track 152 to Dina, then 152 to Grok. So basically it's just following this all the way out. And then making a right hand turn, heading 217 to Olvag, all the way up to Gooseby, and then all the way up tracking north to Richmond, and then it'll be then as filed. So pretty much making sure we follow this whole procedure right here. So we're going to have to make sure we do not break any of these restrictions. So basically max 270 until ATCOM, which is flight level 130 and above, Gunpo at 10,000 and above, 6,000 here, and then 150 here with max 300, and then onto Richmond's NDB. There is no initial climb on here, which I am guessing is going to be done by ATC, which is fine. ATC will give us an initial climb, and then if we get handed to Unicom, which is likely to happen because there's no other ATC online right now, as of us doing this brief, but things could change once we jump back into the flight deck and push. It might all start to light up. In the event that we have to come back, we'll come back to Sydney, Eilish runway 34 left with radar vectors. So if we have to come back, we'll try our hardest to get like over here to Olvag, if not Gooseby. So then we are clear of this approach path for then to vector ourselves back in, which will be breaking off of Gooseby on a left-hand turn, rather than just going right-hand and then coming back in straight on it, because we're going to be way too high here. It's going to be 6,000 and above here, and for the ILS we've got to be at 3,000, so we need to lose some altitude, as well as bleed off the speed as well. So if we have to come back, it'll be ILS runway 34 left, which will program into the secondary flight plan page. So then it's easiest to deactivate. And in terms of that, we will just vector ourselves round to Sausage, 3,000 feet, max 220 with the whole vectoring. Come back, establish runway 34 left, and then return back to the stand that we just went off of, just so we're out the way and we don't have to worry about it. If we do, it's 220 for the barrel coming in, and we are pretty much familiarised with everything. So yeah, let's go ahead, let's hop back into the flight deck and let's prep up everything. And welcome back to the flight deck. So let's go ahead, start getting the aircraft loaded and prepped to head out to Hong Kong. As we've done everything in the briefing, as you guys have just seen, so now we need to put that from mindset into practice. So let's go ahead and get that organised. So we've got all our screens on, so let's do some adjustments here. Something I don't like is having the weather radar all the way around, because it's just a bit too much, especially on my display. So I'm just going to adjust it for you guys as well, so it's not as bad. So that's all done down there. We'll make sure we get the panel lights and all that up here, which is good. And then we are done here. What's the QNH down here actually? Because I don't think it's 1013. We are looking at 1016. 1016 on both sides. Perfect. So, we've got speed and all that's done. So let's have a look at the checklist again. So make sure everything's on. So our batteries are on, our APU bat's on, our external A and B is on. I'll go ahead and put the logo and the strobe on. We'll arm this stuff, put the ground control on so that we can talk to ground if we need to, which we probably will. We'll start dimming this down as well. Get the cabin comfortable, put that to captain. And then we can do the other. So 1, 2, 3, all across. Then we'll do the napalm fire, which is all good. Perfect. So now that that's been done, so power on procedure. So battery 1 and 2 is on, APU bat is on, external A and B is on, nav lights are on, strobe lights are auto, and APU and engine fire test has been pushed and tested. And that is the power on procedure. So let's come down to the EFB. And we'll go ahead and pull from SimBrief, which we can. So we are the Qantas 127 heavy service from Sydney to Hong Kong with our alternate of Victor Mike Mike Charlie. If you want to access the flight plan, you can directly from inside the sim here on the AFB as well, just to give you all their information. But as I say, we've already briefed all this information, so it should not be too familiar with us. Ground equipment is already done because we've got all the doors open. We've got 1, 2, 4, and then we've also got the GPU connected as well. So let's go ahead and go into the payload. So as briefed, we'll put all our fuel in. So we're looking to take, according to our OFP, it's 60.5 tons. We're going to take a little bit more than that just to compensate us, one, for the taxi, any air traffic control, and any traffic around. Obviously, Sydney's a bit quiet. We are very, very close to the runway. We're on stand 83, which is just at the end of the threshold of 16 right. So it's a very short taxi for us, but we've also got to compensate for the arrival into Hong Kong, with depending on how busy it's going to be. So, with my knowledge and how my brain works, I'm going to take an extra 400 kilos. So that's going to take us to 60.9, which is going to be fine. And we have a zero fuel weight according to our OFP is 162 tons. So that's fine. So apply the load. We're going to do fast just to make it easier and quicker for you guys on the video. And we'll still do GSX boarding, but in terms of doing realistic on here, it's just a lot better just to do fast and just for the compensate of you guys. So we'll wait for that. It gives us enough time to work on the McDo and get that prepped. So let's go ahead and go into here, and we can then clear that. So one thing we're looking at here is coming into here, we're wanting to check our engine types, which is the CFEs, which is the Rolls-Royce engines for today, and we want to check, make sure our nav database is up to date. So it's the 7th of February today, and our ARAC database is valid from the 22nd of Jan 2026 to the 19th of Feb 2026. So we're well within our ARAC data. So another thing I'll do here is I'll come into database, make sure that these are aligning, and then come into my GPS monitor, make sure my GPS is alive as well. And then once that's done, we can then come into the init page and then request the initialization from our electronic flight bag to then get that on the go. So we are the Sydney to Hong Kong service via Victor Mike Mike Charlie, and we are Qantas 127 across to there. We've got Cosmic X20 flight level 360, and we've got a tropo which doesn't really show us on the Qantas OFP. All our winds should be in already, and then our IRS alignment is already done. Then what we'll do is we'll then come across to the flight plan page. We'll go to Sydney departure. Now, according to our flight plan, and in terms of what dispatch is given us, we are looking at going out of 16 right for the day via the Grok 1 departure via RIC transition, which is the Rickman transition out of Sydney, and then into Hong Kong. We are looking at ILS 7 left for today via the Betty 3 Alpha, no transition via Limas, and then we'll put that in. Now, the reason why you put your arrival in is so that you can get your distance here, so then you can cross-reference it with your OFP when it comes to going through and making sure everything calculates out correctly, especially your distance, your time, and then your how much fuel you're going to have left on board by the time you get to your destination, just to make sure it all cross-references with your OFP, plus any additional fuel that you've added. So now that we've done that, we'll then come into the RAD navs. These are all just aligning just now as we wait for our IRS to come up, and then our secondary fuel flight plan, which we will do, which we've just got GPS, which is primary, which means our IRSs have just aligned. What I like to do here with the secondary flight plan is just copy it from the active, but this is in case we've got to come back. So we will do Sydney, and then we'll be coming back. I have looked at the ATIS, so they are departing 316 right, but landing 34 left, just to straight with the noise abatement procedure coming in. So you can't fly in over the city or over the residential area during nighttime ops, just for operational wise and just to keep residents happy. So we're going to be landing ILS 34 left, no star, no transition, and no VIA. We'll just vector ourselves back to the airfield with my knowledge in terms of how to do that. 9 times out of 10 you will never ever come back, especially if you're doing ops and you just take flight sim as it comes. So like if you're someone that just flies A to B, and if you have a failure or anything, you'll just end the flight. Someone like myself will return to the field and do it as real world as we can, to obviously what the sim constrains us to do. So in this instance, we can't come back to the field. So that's all programmed in. Performance we'll do here very, very shortly. But we will then come into the prog. One thing I like to do is put the departure runway and the IACO code, so it gives us a distance to run till the runway. So we're 0.2 away from 16 right threshold, but that's fine, because we're right next to it, as I said. So now that we've done that, we will get GSX boarding, because as I say, we're still going to use the boarding via GSX, but we've just done the fast load for the AFB, so then we don't have to wait half an hour for the fuel and all the weights to be done correctly. It's all done now. So now we've done that, one thing I do like to do is on the radio page, I do like to put the Sydney's VOR, which is going to be SY. Now, the best way to think about this is do this off of the side that's going to be, you're going to be passing it on. So for us, because we're departing 16 right, we'll be probably going out straight ahead and then turning, and then we'll be right downwind on it. So best to put it here, so then it hard locks on your ND, obviously once we do all our procedural stuff up here on the MCP, on the CAS and all that stuff. So that'll be hard locked on the right hand side, so then we can track our distance to run and all that stuff. Now in terms of all that, we've got boarding on the go, we have fuel on board. So what we'll do is we'll keep this page open. We can't do this yet until GSX is finished, but while we are waiting, we can go ahead and turn the seatbelt signs on, because now we've got all the fuel. Cruise supply can come on, and then we can turn on all the fuel tanks as well. So they're all good to go up there. Now what we can do is we can come up to this upper ECAS part and then do everything up here. So we'll do Flight Director 1, Flight Director 2, VORs, constraints, and then on the captain side, we'll do constraints on that side as well. So as I say, like what we just did with the radial nav page, Sydney's now hard locked here, and then the Richmond VORs locked here, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal, because it was already pinpointed to this. So this is we're 26.8 nautical miles away from Richmond's VOR, but we're 1 nautical mile away from Sydney's VOR because it's right next to the tower. So it's further down the field, but it's a referencing guide for us if we need it and when we need it. So as I say, Sydney's online, so we'll come down here and set up a radio. So on VHF2, especially in VATSIM, under the rules and terms and conditions and operational use of VATSIM, you have to be monitoring guard frequency. Guard frequency is a global frequency that some controllers are using to contact you rather than for vPilot. So what they'll do is they'll contact you through guard, which is on 121.5. We'll just have that active in VHF2, but then in VHF1, this is the primary frequency that you'll really be using. So we've got ground on 121.7. So we'll chuck him over. I think he's a bit quiet right now, because it is Sydney. It is very early morning, so we will give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, and then we will turn stuff up on here as well, so that's fine. So one thing I like to do is, obviously I've already got the ATIS, so the ATIS right now is information Bravo's current, runway 34 left is for arrivals, 16 right for departures, with the curfew and the noise abatement procedures are in place. The winds are 190 at 8, cab okay, 24 degrees down here and 1016. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down into here, and then I'm going to have this page open, because this is a good reference to have. So as he's reading me my clearance, I know I can confirm that we are then on the Grok 1 departure. Don't know what flight level we've got because according to the departure said it is assigned by ATC. So we've got to wait for ATC to do that, and then he will then give us our squawk. So let's go ahead. Let's call Sydney ground. Let's get clearance to go out to Hong Kong and get that part of the checklist out the way. Sydney ground, get a Qantas 127 heavy. We are on stand 83. We have Bravo with a QNH 1016 requesting clearance over to Hong Kong.
Qantas 127 Sydney ground, good day. Clear to Hong Kong via Richmond, flight plan route, runway 16 right, the Cook 1 departure, and Richmond transition, flight climb by 5,000 feet, squawk 14404, and departure frequency and Unicom 122.8.
Roger, we are cleared to Hong Kong by the Grok 1 departure by the Richmond transition. Initials 5,000 feet and squawking 1444, and departure frequencies on to advisory for Qantas 127 Heavy.
Qantas 127 frequency change. Departures will be on 133.15.
122.15 for Qantas 127.
Qantas 127 negative. The frequency is 133.15. Thanks.
Yeah, 122.557, I believe, for Qantas 127. You're very, very quiet.
Apologies. Qantas 127 departure frequency 133.15.
123.15 for Qantas 127.
Qantas 127 negative 133.15.
133.15 for Qantas 127.
Qantas 127, thanks. It's getting late, actually.
Roger, we will call for push and taxi for Qantas 127. Okay, he was very, very quiet, but we finally got a clearance.
Good evening,
So we've got Grok 1, which is what you confirm, Richmond transition. Initials 5,000 and
China
squawking
Eastern 711, Sydney ground today,
so 1444, we'll turn this on because we can now. And then we'll have above and then stand by for the traffic, and then we'll do 5,000 in window. So we'll come up to here, we'll set 5,000, and then we will be all good up here. Is that GSX finished?
China
GSX
Eastern 11,
Perfect.
cleared Auckland via the airport.
So now we can go ahead and clear all this.
Clockwise,
And then we can
flight
then
plan route,
grab some
runway
additional
16
information.
right,
So
the Sydney 3
with
departure,
this,
climb by
we
5,000, squawk
take
1354,
information.
and
So we
departure
have
frequency
the zero fuel weight of
133.15.
26.7, which is our
Roger,
zero fuel
clear
weight
to
center
Auckland
gravity
by
for
Sydney 3 departure.
when we put in our zero fuel
Runway
weight
16
calculations.
right, meters
But
15
what we
Addons.
can do is we can come into here, we can
Block
sync this with the
1345
McDoos,
departure
and then
frequency
we
monitor
can check it. So we're
133.15.
16 right for departure from the full length. It's dry for today, winds are 190 at 24 degrees 1016.
China
Our
Eastern
takeoff weight
711,
for today
the
is
squawk
20,
is 1354.
222.0.
So 1354, thank you.
And then flaps are config 1, aircon's going to be
China
on,
Eastern
anti-ace is
711,
going to be off, and force toga is going to be off. So we can go ahead and calculate that, let that do its thing. So we're going to be flaps 1, 38, 163, 167, 168 with 28.4 in the CG. So let's go ahead and then we'll put all this information in. So one thing we'll do is we'll go back to the NB page so then we can get our calculations done. So our zero fuel weight for today is 162 tons, and with our zero fuel weight of 26.7. Oh. We've got a block fuel of 60.9, which we can confirm up here in the upper recast, so 60.9. And then we will fill out the rest of this. So we've got 0.6 in here. We've got alternate fuel that we need if we need it, which is going to be 3.3. We've got final fuel at the destination of 2.6. And then this extra fuel we'll calculate once we're in cruise, but that's fine. Now that we've done that, we can then come over to the performance page. So as I say, we're going to be flaps 1 for today, and we'll then have a flex of 38. So 38 into there, and then we then have speeds of 63, 67, 68. So 63, 67, and 68. Perfect. So that is the MCU complete. What I'm going to do is on the captain side, I'm going to have the flight plan on this side. This is saying 2.3, ignore this. This will fluctuate by, throughout the cruise, but we're fine. But now we're going to cross-reference these numbers. So we have, in the NB page, we are 162 tons at 26.7, giving us 60.9 tons of fuel. Takeoff weight for today is 222.0, but 22.3 because we've got additional fuel on board. And then with a landing weight of 164.3, with our OFP, it's in 170.2. So it's a bit off, but I think that could be just an Inibuilds thing. And then coming into the flight plan, we have a total distance of 4079 according to our OFP, 4079, 8 hours 46, 8 hours 42, out but within 10, so we're fine, and then we're good to go on this front. So what we'll do is we'll keep the performance page open up here, and before we start up any APU, we'll do the cockpit preparation checklist. So the cockpit preparation checklist is: cockpit lights are set as required, crew supply is on, ADIRS are 1, 2, 3 are nav'd, no smoking sign is on, emergency lights are armed, engine 1 and 2 fire test has been pushed, and it A is complete, and it B is complete, fuel prediction page is complete, flight plan page is complete, radio nav is complete, performance page is complete, and we've already obtained our clearance, so we're out here by the Grok 1 departure, Richmond transition, initial climb is 5,000 feet, and we're squawking 1444 with an altimeter of 1016. So that is absolutely fantastic. So that is that checklist complete, and we can then go ahead and start closing up these doors as well. So we'll get those two doors closed, we'll get the APU up, and then we will then be able to start getting the rest of the checklists complete, and then get out of here and get on our way to Hong Kong. We're just waiting on the APU coming up, which should not be too much longer. And then once that comes alive, we'll get good. And then he said like 131. No, 133.15. And then the APU is alive now, so now we'll wait 3 minutes before we start passing the fumes down the cabin. What we'll do is we'll get rid of external B for just now, and then let it run on its own power, and then we'll let it be good. We'll come down to here, we'll do that. We can put our tray away now. Do all that. There. Now once this gets to a minute 30, then we can drop external A, and then we can start getting the tug connected as well. So we'll go ahead and close number 1. So then all doors are closed now, in preparation for the tug being connected. Yeah, there's a minute 30, drop external A, remove the tug, and then we can prepare for pushback and departure. So as we wait for that to get connected, we'll do the before start checklist. So doors and windows are closed and locked. APU is on. APU bleed is off pending a minute 10. Seatbelt signs are on, fuel pumps are on, thrust levers are idle, fuel quantity is 60.9. Takeoff data is checked, beacon light is on. Engine mode selector is normal, parking brake is set, transponder is set to on and 1444, and external power is removed. As the before start checklist is complete, pending the fuel bleed to come on at 3 minutes. Roger. Alright, there is 3 minutes on the timer. Blade can come on. Then we'll be good. And Sydney ground, Qantas 127 heavy, stand A3, request push.
Qantas 127, push approved.
Push approved for Qantas 127. Right, so we are all good, and the before start checklist is complete now because now we've got the bleed on, so that's good. Right, so brakes off. Start the timer, and we'll start well. So we are now moving, and the engine start procedure is engine 1 and 2 with Airbus. So we'll be sure to make sure we keep that one informed. So we're clear left, clear right. So we'll set engine start to ignition, wait for pressure, and then we'll go ahead and start number 1. So, and then we'll start timer, and then we'll monitor.
Sydney ground, hello, Qatari 58 Mike, vacated runway 34 left via Bravo 9.
Last station, call sign only, please.
Qatari 58 Mike.
Qatari 58 Mike, were you going to the international or domestic base?
Any stand can work, to be honest. Not really looking for anything specific.
Qatari 58 Mike, Jeff. You can taxi Bravo Cross 25 and Golf. Hold short runway 16
Start
right.
is done, so starting up number
Taxi
2.
via Bravo, cross runway 25, Golf, and hold short runway 16 right, Qatari 58 Mike.
All stations, Sydney Terminal Information Challenge now current change is wind 190 degrees 10 knots. Information
And we are
Charlie
ready to
Charlie.
start. Right, engine 2 is now started. I'm going to stop the timer, and then we can clean up. And then, what did we say our trim was? 28.4. Roger. Neutral. And then our hand signal has been received with a wave off. Perfect. Right, so the after start checklist. Parking brake is set, engine mode selector is normal, APU bleed is off, engine mode selector is off,
58
spoilers
Mike,
are on, flaps
you
are
can
set to
cross
take off, race
34 left,
config plus 1F is blue,
continue Golf to the back.
auto brake is set to max, pitch trim is
3
set
for left
to
and
28.4.
continue on Golf to
Rudder trim
the
is
right,
0,
Qatari
anti-ices
58
required, flight
Mike.
controls are checked and free, and flight instruments are checked. As the after start checklist is complete. And then we can then do the taxis, so that's good. And Qantas 127 for the ready for taxi.
Qantas 127, taxi holding point Bravo 1, runway 16 right.
Taxi still on point, Bravo 1 for runway 16 right for Qantas 127 heavy. Right, full taxi checklist. Taxi lights on, nose lights to taxi, and runway turn offs are as required, and so is the wing lights. Brakes off. Let's go.
Just a quick question, if you don't mind me asking. In Australia, do you add the wake category to the call sign?
Last station call.
Right, so let's do this
please,
clean up
repeat
real quick,
message.
just to make sure.
It's just a little bit off topic, but I wanted to know if in Australia do you add the wake category to the call sign?
The weight category, the heavies usually called to internationals 5 and
Bravo 1 is right here, so
yeah,
it's a
I
very,
said
very
2
short
and 1
taxi
as well.
for us. It's very, very nice. So before takeoff checklist, takeoff config is push and is normal, weather radar is on, predictive wind shear is auto, terrain on ND is on, engine mode selector is normal, and cabin crew is advised and is ready.
6 ground, China 71 heavy on 337. We have information Charlie up roll.
Yeah, we have information Charlie on board for Qantas 127. Right, so
6 ground, China 711 heavy, 337. Request
frequency change approved with information Charlie for Qantas 127. Good day. Right, so we've got tower online, which is 120.5.
Type 462, climb flight level 38, sir.
Climb to flight level 380, type 460 heavy.
Type 462, apologies. Also contact me 132.6.
Sending departure, good evening, Qantas 127 heavy, holding short Bravo 1, failure ready for departure, unless you want us to go to tower and then come back to you.
Station calling Qantas 121, if you're on the ground at Sydney, contact Tower 125, and I'll talk to you shortly.
We'll talk to you shortly first, Qantas 127.
I'll say again for type 462.
Sydney Tower, good day, Qantas 127 heavy, holding short Bravo 1, runway 16 right.
Qantas 127 heavy, City Tower, good day, runway 16 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway 16 right, clear for takeoff for Qantas 127. Right, so let's start rolling on, and then we'll do all the lights. So clear on the approach, clear on the other side, which they will be landing this side, so we're going to have to be aware of that. And then we can turn TCAS to Tara. So before takeoff checklist, below the light, anti-ice is not required, packs are on, strobe lights are on, nose lights to take off, landing lights are on, runway turn off lights are on, transponder mode is Tara, ACAM memos take off no blue, and then we'll start the chrono once we are rolling down the runway. Right, turn that off, start the chrono, hold the brakes, 40%, hold, Manflex 38 SRS runway auto thrust and blue. And off. Now, brother, get up.
Qantas Qantas 127, contact departures.
Over to departures for Qantas 127. Right, over to departure 133.1. Sending departure, very good morning. Qantas 127 Heavy with you passing 1,700 for 5,000.
Qantas 127, Melbourne Centre, g'day, welcome back. You're identified as climb by the side, flight level 28.
Climb by the side, flight level 280 for Qantas 127. Right, so we'll go autopilot 1, climb by the side to 280. 280's in. And then we'll knock out those lights. And passing S speed. Speed check, flaps up. Ground spoilers disarmed. And then we'll do the after takeoff checks. So the landing gear is up, lights are out, nose light is off, runway turn-offs are off, flaps are up and retracted, ground spoilers are disarmed, and we are with 280 in, and we are climbing. So that is the after takeoff checklist. Actually, no, it's not, because we've got all pilots engaged. Anti-ice is not required, engine mode selector is normal as required, packs are on, and we're never switched it off. And that is the after takeoff checklist properly now, until we get to transition.
All stations, Melbourne Centre, stand by, I'll be right back.
Our flight was closing.
Melbourne Centre's back. Qantas 127, cancel set, clear direct, Boise.
Cancel said clear direct Boise for Qantas 127. Boise. Yes. 10,000, lights off. Standard, and 0139902, nice. Right, 10,000 clearance, so we've got climb, nav, alt blue, flight level 280 blue, standard cross check passing 10,400 now, and we are all good, so, and the lights, the landing lights are off as well now, so, perfect. We are now on our way to Hong Kong. So we'll just wait a little bit longer because I don't know what these...
Qantas 127, contact me on Brisbane Centre 130.9.
130.9 for Qantas 127. And departure Qantas 127.
Qantas 127, Melbourne Centre, good day. Climb flight level 360.
360 for Qantas 127. Right, 360 is in, and then we'll come down here and do a bit of a clean up now. So, we can make sure we got, well, our optimal is 354, maximum is 372, so we're well within restrictions here. We'll go ahead, we didn't do any fixed information, so that's good. We just have to make sure that's clear. We can go to Sydney, copy that, and then we can then just do some monitoring. So all this is just calculating still until we hit cruise, and then our performance is all good. So we can set that to 0 as well to get a higher rate and a faster climb rate, and then we just wait to hit cruise. So I see no issues with the turbulence out here, so we'll go ahead and we'll release passengers. And then we can turn off the terrain as well, because we don't need that anymore. Yeah, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. I'm going to enjoy some music and some climb as we get up to cruise. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that departure, and I will talk to you guys as we plan our arrival into Hong Kong on the other side. Till then, happy skies, happy landings, good night, bye bye. and welcome back to the flight deck. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed that cruise. It has been one long ride, and we are now approaching within 100 nautical miles for our top descent here into Hong Kong. So let's go ahead, let's do a brief, and then we will then make sure everything's all good. As I say, we did most of it on the ground in Sydney. Not much has changed. I have checked the weather before coming into here. They're still using 07s, so the plan is still going to be what's pretty much in the McDo already from the departure out of Sydney, but we'll just make sure we brief ourselves for coming into here, just to make sure that we're familiarised with all the procedures and what we're actually doing. So we're coming in via the Betty 3 Alpha arrival, via Betty to Mango to HH511, and then to Linz, and then as follows, and then we'll take the ILS runway 07 left into Hong Kong for today. So we've got across Linz at and maintain flight level 130. We're not allowed to descend any further without any ATC clearance. At this moment in time, there is no ATC on, so we'll descend at our own discretion into here. Aircraft shall fly at a maintain of 280 knots by Mango, so we've got a speed constraint here as well. So we've got 130 that we'll descend to, can't descend any lower or higher by 130 over Mango. After Mango, we can then descend further, but we've got a speed constraint at 280 as well. The holding pattern for Betty Star is established at Betty. If holding is required, each flight will be instructed individually. We'll be fine. There's no traffic factor going on right now, so we can just ignore this whole hold and just fly. And the only time we'll use this hold, if we have to, is if it does start picking up and people on the network just start randomly logging on mid-flight. Or if we're not going to hit this restriction, we'll go into a hold here. We'll do one loop, right-hand orbit, and then we'll continue then onto Mango, and then descend further if we have to. Alternate holding is applicable if we need to. I believe there's one over limbs if we need to, but we shouldn't be really looking to be dealing with that. For 07 left, 07 centre, and 07 right, so we're coming in on 7 left. Maintain flight level 130 to Linz, join limbs holding pattern and descend to 4,500 in the hold, then carry out the appropriate ILS procedure. This part we're going to ignore. What we'll do is we'll go limbs for 130, and then after Mango, we'll then continue down to Linz, and we'll hit in between these two constraints, so we've got 6,000 at the maximum and 3,000 at the lowest. So we'll probably aim for about 5,000 feet here for Linz, and then we'll descend further with the ILS, which will be mandatory. So here we've got Linz 6,000 to 3,000 with the hold right-hand orbit again if we need it. It's also part of the missed approach procedure as well if we need to come back around. So we've got limbs all the way down to 3,000 minimum, Tutba for 2,000, and then we then make that right hand turn on ahead and so 044 to Victor Hotel 701 at 1,500 feet to then capture the ILS for 7 left. In the event of a missed approach procedure out of here, if we need it, which I don't think we will because it's pretty dead at this moment in time, we've got to climb straight ahead to Victor Hotel 726 to 5,000 on a track of 074, and then proceed on a heading of 040 to Victor Hotel 727, and then follow the standard missed approach procedure all the way back around to limbs on the other side. At 5,000 feet all the way around, do not go any higher or any lower, and we've got a maximum restraint here right as well. So from Victor Hotel, so we've got max 200 until here, and then after that it's all the way up to 230, so we're increasing our speed by 10 knots as we do this approach, and then we hold here at 230 knots at 5,000, and then we'll descend further to our 3,000, and then we'll come back down to 2, and then 1,500, and then try again for attempt number 2. If attempt number 2 fails, it'll be a standard missed again, but then we'll be off to our alternate. We cannot try a third time into here, we will just go straight to our alternate. Fingers crossed we don't have to do that, because the winds are actually looking quite good, the weather's in our favour, so we're all good. We've got transition altitude of 9,000, so we'll, I think the MiG is probably going to go off of an extra 1,000 on top of this, so we'll keep an eye on this. But if anything, we'll probably do it earlier than this anyway, so which is fine. DME is required, so we'll have that. We'll track the Hong Kong VOR as well as we come into here. I'll have that on my side, which is the first officer side. I'll hard lock it and then just track the DME miles as we come all the way in on this approach. If unable RMP1, inform ATC accordingly. There's no ATC online. If unable RMP1 during missed approach procedure, continue on the published missed approach track. Climb and pass minimum sector altitude MSA of 4,300 as soon as possible and continue to 5,000, which we are RMP1 enabled anyway, so we'll be able to do this whole missed approach procedure as always. Simultaneously, depending on operations, operation with 707 right. So we've got to keep an eye on, make sure we don't bank to the right, because there could be a departure coming off the 7 right, going out on their star, on their SID, shall I say. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Do not bank right and make sure we stay on our course, just to be out the way of that. Once we get into here, on 07 left, which is all the way up here, we're going to plan for Charlie 7. If we can't hit Charlie 7, we'll hit Charlie 8, and then it'll just be a simple taxi of following off of whatever one we're coming on, all the way on Charlie, follow it round on the eastern side of the airfield, all the way around, take this taxiway Echo, hold short here of runway Foxtrot, hold short of Foxtrot 7 for runway 07 centre in case of any departures or any arrivals coming on in here. If no one's here, we'll make sure we'll cross, given a clearance on the left and the right. Cross here at Foxtrot 7, all the way onto Alpha 1, and then we will continue. Is that 1-1? Yeah, that's 1-1. Alpha 11, and then all the way on here onto Bravo 8, and then Bravo 7, and then we're looking for November 6, and November 26 here for parking. So simple, easy procedure, but you know, it's just executing it now. So let's jump back into the flight deck. We'll make sure all these are done, make sure all the restraints are in, the speed restraints are in, and we will start getting her ready. And welcome back. So let's go ahead and put that arrival briefing that we just spoke about into practice, into the aircraft. We pretty much done most of it when we were on the ground in Sydney for the departure, just for our numbers, our pinpoint accuracy, and all that. So let's go ahead. Let's make sure, verify everything into the MICDO before we hit top of descent, as we are just shy of 90 nautical miles away from TD. So let's go ahead and let's grab the METAR for Hong Kong of the VATSIM. So winds are 040 at 7, varying between 320 and 080, so they're still landing 07s, so we'll still come in on 7 left, which we've already got programmed in, which is absolutely fantastic. That's cleaned itself out, that's fine. So we're going to be 07 left, by the Betty 3 Alpha, no transition via limbs, and then that's all in. Few clouds at 3,000, scattered at 4,000, temperature 16, QNH 1024. So perfect. We see RTD here as well, so that's all good. So let's go ahead and we will do everything. So let's go grab our barrel for runway 07 left, which for today is 123. So 123 into there, and then we'll just take all the winds that we've got. So winds are 040 at 7, temperature 16 degrees, and then 1024, and then we've got a transition altitude of 110, so that's already in the box. So then we've got a VAB of 139 with a VLS of 134 with a clean of 225. Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll come into here as well, we will clean this up as well, and we'll do Hong Kong 07 left into there, radio navs, We'll grab the VOR for Hong Kong, which we'll have on our right hand side, which will be Sierra Mike Tango. We're going to be so far out from this that we won't be able to pick up right now, but it's hard locked, and then we'll start projecting it very, very shortly. And then we'll do some flight plan stuff. So we need Sierra Mike Tango, 25 miles, and then we'll do Hong Kong into there at 10 miles, and then we need India Zulu Sierra Lima airport not database. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll do VHHH 07 left again, and then we'll do 5 miles. So sometimes that ILS DME frequency, which is this, sometimes it will go in there, sometimes it won't. It's a hit and miss sometimes, but it's one to always just check and make sure it's working. So we have 69 miles to go until TD, and we have an initial descent on the Beta 3 Alpha at Mango, so we'll make sure Mango's in here, with a constraint of 130 max 280, and then limbs is between 6,000 and 3,000 with no speed constraint. But then when we go to the ILS chart, there is still no speed constraint, and then you've got the Tutba at max 180 at 2,500, but it's saying at 2,000. So we'll remove that and we'll put the 2,000 hard restriction in there. And then the Victor Hotel 701 at 1,500. So we'll go in here, we'll go 1,500. And then 702 is then when we pick up the ILS for runway 07 left. So, and the misapproach procedure is here is climb straight ahead to Victor Hotel 726 to 5,000 feet, and then turn left and proceed direct to Victor Hotel 727, then Hotel 741, and then right hand turn to Hotel 742, and then another right hand turn to Hotel 743, and then on to Hotel 744, and then back round to limbs to then hold with a right hand orbit, and then wait for further instructions. So that's all fine. With that, we'll go ahead and we'll set the operate to low. We'll get our ILS systems on as well, since they'll be good, and then we'll bring this round. So we've got QNH of 1024. So we'll set it on here on the standby, which is always nice to do, just to give us a rough estimate. So it's about 200 feet above, so it's all good there. And then we have then an initial descent down to flight level 130. So we'll set that up as well. So we'll chuck that in. Nice. Perfect. So 51 miles to go. We've got a nice, beautiful sunrise happening here, coming into Hong Kong as we hit top of descent. So should be nice. What a beautiful view out the window here. Beautiful, beautiful. And as we come into the top of the descent, we'll do the top of the descent checklist. So, landing calculations are checked. Auto brake is low and set. Fuel prediction page is complete. Flight plan page is complete. Radial navs are complete, and performance page is complete for runway 07 left with a minimums and barrel of 123 via the Beta 3 Alpha with initial descent into flight level 130, which is blue. So, basically, top of the descent checklist is complete. And we just got a little bit more once we activate this top of descent as well. So, that's before the line. So, do that, and we will now begin our descent. And after 8 hours and 13 minutes, we're now descending into Hong Kong. So, we've got descent, alt blue, flight level 130 blue, and top of the descent checklist below the line. Descent has been initiated. Anti-ice is not required. Engine mode selector is normal. And descent checklist is complete. So as we descend here into Hong Kong, I'll let you guys enjoy the views and thrust ref. Or thrust descent. Enjoy the views. Right, let's go ahead and get the seatbelt signs on, ready for going for these clouds. I don't see any precipitation coming up in these clouds. We're plus 11, so we don't need the anti-ice. So we're fine. We're 330 feet above, that's fine. Hopefully we should hit this restriction. Right. Green dots coming in. wind up. We'll give it a helping hand now. Get that speed down for the restriction. We don't want to be all the way, but almost just above, like we're way above 300 knots. We kind of want to be like 280 for this. Give her a helping hand. With that, we'll continue the wind down, so we'll go down to 6,000. We're going to be alt magenta, flight level 130. Because of the restraint here at Mango. Speed 280. Perfect. Bring that back in. Speed alt constraint. Descent. And then we've been cleared down to flight level 060, but we're going to push this, wind it up to 1024, 1024, and then we've got 1024 down here as well. So we've got thrust descent, 6,000 blue. We'll continue our way down now. Thrust descent. It's going to bring us all the way back to 250 knots for the 10,000. But what a stunning early morning view as we descend into Hong Kong. It is absolutely stunning. What we'll do is once we get to the 250, I'll push out the speed so then I can then activate approach mode, and then we can do the 10,000 feet checklist as well. So, and then we'll be able to have that all in place as well. Speed. Alright, pull that 250, and that can come on as well. There we go. Good. Right, so 10,000 foot checklist. Landing lights aren't on, terrain on, ND. I guess we'll bring it on for me if we need it. I don't think we're going to need it. Unless it just doesn't work in the Inibuilds, which I don't think it does because it's dashed out. Because it should be picking up these mountains down here in front of us, but it's not, so we'll turn it off. So terrain on the ND is not required, seatbelt signs are on, and landing system modes are both on as well. So that is the 10,000 foot checklist, and we've got the transition altitude checklist, which is set to 1024, passing 9,300 now. So that's the 10,000 foot checklist is complete. So as we're steadily descending here to 6,000, which is the maximum height that we've got to be at for limbs, with a minimum of 3,000, we'll go down to 4,000 feet. To be nice for that, because now we're green dot. Bang on the green dot. And as we begin to enter the 25-mile rings as well, we are going to make sure that it's set up as well. There we go. So we've got no speed restraint here, but we've got a speed restraint in the next one, which is max 180 for the turn. And what we're tracking distance wise, so we are 22.7, 22.6 track miles away from the threshold of 07 left, which is good. We have 35 miles to run as well until we're actually directly in Hong Kong. So we're all good there. We're all good there. Our glide, diamond's alive, which is good. Good indicator. Very early though, but that's fine. All we'll do is we'll continue down to 2,000 feet for the next restriction, and then we'll start winding the speed back as well. So we'll wind it back to 220 knots. Thrust idle. Keep that green dot coming in. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this just to get 700 feet coming in. Make sure we don't lose that green dot. Keep an eye on it. To 1,000 feet a minute. And we'll do speed check flaps 1. Start winding this back to 180 for the next restraint. And we've got to remember it's 5,000 for the go around, so we should be fine. Hong Kong, Hong Kong. Check radio altimeter. Then we can go ahead and wind that down to 1,500. And it will be good. Right, we'll speed check flaps 2. start winding this back. To approach AP1. Alt star. Lock star. Right, we'll do 160 to 4. Go down, speed check, flaps 3. Lock. Glide slope star. With that, we can then go ahead and wind it up to 5,000. Perfect. And there's 4 miles. And we'll do flaps full. And then we'll do the approach and landing checklist. Approach mode is active, nose lights to take off, runway lights are on, spoilers are armed, landing, flaps full, green, landing go down 3 green, go round set to 5,000, auto thrust is setting as required, landing memo, land on blue, and landing speed is managed, 1,000 is checked. And my aircraft. Cat 1. Checked.
Above. 100. Minimum.
Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Put it down. Pressures. Not needed. Ground spoilers. Fix out. And welcome to Hong Kong, chat. And we've got Charlie 7. Perfect. We'll disable the ground spoilers and flaps can come up. So we're going to remain on Charlie, take it all the way around, on the other side, and then be good. Perfect. And after 8 hours and 42 minutes, welcome on the ground into Hong Kong. Pretty nice. So we're going and looking for November 26 for today. So we'll go ahead and get GSX on the go with that one. Do the after landing checklist. So strobe lights are off, landing lights are off, nose light is to taxi, runway turn-offs are off, wing lights off, anti-ice was off and not required, spoilers are retracted, flaps are retracted and up, terrain on ND was never on, weather radar is off, predicted wind shear is off, transponder mode is standby, and the APU we're delaying for start until we get closer to the terminal because of how far this taxi is, because we still have to cross another active runway on the other side, which is runway 25 center. So we will delay for that. Right, so we are coming up to the Echo taxiway. So we want to make a left here on Echo, and it's going to be the first right onto Foxtrot 7. So we can go ahead and start up the APU, which is already starting. Well, put it up there. So we can check right, check left. No one's on taxiway Echo. We've someone coming in on the runway 07 center, so be sure to hold short of the runway here until he's in, and then we can then cross over. And then we'll make a hold shut here because he's on the runway still. Actually, he's now just vacated, so let's go ahead and cross as well. Stroke can come on because we're crossing an active runway. And our brakes are hot as well, so we get them turned on because we've been riding the brakes. Then we'll cross the other side, and then we're going to go into continue straight ahead into Bravo 8, which is going to take us all the way to our stand, which is November 26 for today. Hopefully this cafe is not going to steal it from us. Rolling right past it because November 26 is right here. November 26 is identified. Too far, just too far. Parking brake is set. Blade can come on. And we go 1, then 2. We're below 20. So beacon light can come off, seatbelt signs can come off, and welcome to Hong Kong. So the parking checklist: parking brake is set, nose lights off, anti-ice is off, APU bleed is on, engine masters are normal, seatbelt signs are off, beacon light is off, fuel pumps are off, transponder set is to standby with 2000, and that is the parking checklist is complete. So there you have it. Welcome to Hong Kong. Let's get the brakes off and we will get the ground power and everything connected and get off the APU. And there you have it. Welcome to the lovely good morning Hong Kong after 8 hours and 42 minutes and 9 hours and 2 minutes on the block. So yeah, what a phenomenal flight that was. What a flight, what a flight. But yeah, hopefully you guys all enjoyed that. This was the Qantas 127 service up to Hong Kong from Sydney, operating in the Inibuilds A330-300 today. And yeah, if you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a comment, like the video, and hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the skies very, very soon.